time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Tilani Pires. The Minister Nama Rajapaksa says parallel to the developmental programs, extraordinary projects will be introduced to promote the economy. The GCO level examination results released short while ago. Health authorities say that it is not recommended to fully open the country at once. The Foreign Ministry informs any country accepts foreigners who are fully vaccinated with a WHO-approved jab. Marine biologists point out ways to enhance alternative livelihoods for the people living in the coastal belt. The farmers and researchers are telling to restore traditional crops and provide local seeds to continue with organic farming. And on international news, the United Nations Security Council's 5 permanent members urge the Taliban to uphold women's rights. Sports Minister Nama Rajapaksa says parallel to the developmental program launched island-wide, extraordinary projects will be introduced to promote the economy of the public. He said the vision of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa named Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor is being a reality. The minister said an observation is also in progress to find loopholes of the ongoing developmental schemes and that entire project will be finished to the highest standards. He also said priority will be given to food security and the government aims to provide the public foodstuff that have no toxic chemicals or preservatives, for which the government is promoting local food production in the island, the minister added. The Commissioner General of Examinations, Sanath Pujita, says the GC O-level examination results have been released a short while ago. Releasing the examination results have been held up due to trade union action of the teachers. The delay in conducting practical examinations for students who completed theoretical papers for aesthetic studies has forced the Examinations Commissioner to put the results of some 620,000 students on hold till today. The Commissioner General of Examinations said results have been released with the current markings and complete the practical exams later when schools are fully operational and the teachers return. The Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, says that it is not recommended fully to open the country at once when taking the decision to lift the prevalent quarantine curfew. He stressed if the country is fully open, there could be loopholes that could turn the situation still worse. Dr. Herath added that it is much appropriate and highly recommended to open up the country gradually. It is reported that there are attempts to reopen the country from next week. The doctors also said the nation is reaping the benefits of the quarantine curfew, which has been in place for over a month now. Meanwhile, a series of regulations has been introduced when operating private buses. Chairman's Federation of Provincial Transport Authority has issued the regulations. A media briefing in this regard took place in Dambulla today. It was disclosed that the driver and the conductor of the bus should have received a vaccine. It is mandatory for the passengers to wear face masks until the end of their journey. The conductor is entrusted with the responsibility to make certain that passengers wear face masks all the time. Meanwhile, convener of the Federation, Nilanthe Kanayaka, said that State Ministry of Transport has introduced an annual package of 50,000 rupees for bus owners for each bus. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, says that every country accepts foreigners who are fully vaccinated with a WHO-approved jab. The Foreign Ministry had informed that no country has made a particular COVID-19 vaccine compulsory when entering their respective countries. Dr. Hemantha pointed out, if there is anyone who wants to get vaccinated with a particular vaccine, the Health Ministry would consider giving the preferred vaccine if it is available in the country. Accordingly, those people who are expecting to go overseas can receive the relevant COVID-19 vaccine. However, they have to come out with the documentary evidence and produce them to the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Herath added. He also said such individuals could email the relevant documents and certificates to the email address dghs@health.gov.lk. Dr. Herath proceeded to say, though there were moves by the Foreign Employment Bureau to get people expecting to go overseas vaccinated with the jab recommended by the relevant country, it has been abandoned as of now because the Foreign Ministry has categorically stated that no country has made any COVID vaccine mandatory. Ruchira Kumaratunga, former professor in the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Culture at the University of Runa, says there is a need to enhance alternative livelihoods for the people living in the coastal belt in Sri Lanka. Professor Ruchira said while coastal fishermen to sustain their fishery activities, they should also be familiarized with the process of seaweed farming. It will help with them an additional source of income, he added. Another method for them would be utilization of fishery waste or trash fish to produce organic fertilizer. Women and school dropouts in fisher families could be involved in these ventures to uplift the economy, he added. Today, the farmers and researchers are telling to restore traditional crops and provide local seeds to continue with organic farming. They said local varieties are better adapted to the increasingly volatile climate. They urged the government to initiate local seed restoration project to help the farmer and install a seed bank in Sri Lanka to save indigenous seed varieties for the benefit of the future generations. The scientists in the field of agriculture say local seeds are important in mitigating the effects of climate change. They added the local and indigenous crop varieties are more tolerant of weather shocks and the invasion of new pests and pathogens. The traditional plant varieties also have added nutritional advantages, they said. In the early 1990s, scientists told farmers to abandon their traditional crop varieties, saying that the yield was too low. However, they are now saying hybrid seeds are vulnerable to pests and diseases and not resistant to adverse climate changes. That ends local news for now.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Sports Minister Nama Rajapaksa says parallel to the developmental program launched island-wide, extraordinary projects will be introduced to promote the economy of the public. He said the vision of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa named Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor is being a reality. The minister said an observation is also in progress to find loopholes of the ongoing developmental schemes and the entire project will be finished to the highest standards. He also said priority will be given to food security and the government aims to provide the public foodstuffs that are with no toxic chemicals or preservatives, for which the government is promoting local food production in the island, the minister added. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watch Live.
There is a rapid escalation of incidents related to cybercrime and cyber harassment during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the reported cases rising from 4,000 to 16,000 from 2017 to 2020. The Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team Information Security Engineer Deenadayalan Nagaratnam said, according to CID data in 2018, around 90% of Sri Lankan university students have become victims of cyber harassment. That came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
The world news headlines first. The United Nations Security Council's 5 permanent members urged the Taliban to uphold women's rights. The Pakistan government says ban would be imposed on basic services for people who have not received their COVID-19 vaccine. Lithuania tells consumers to throw away Chinese-made phones because they have baked-in censorship tools. The foreign ministers of the United Nations Security Council's 5 permanent members agreed to urge Taliban to uphold women's rights. However, they all were split about whether to provide financial aid. The meeting took place today in New York. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was also present. A high-ranking U.S. State Department official says they also agreed to urge the Taliban to ensure Afghanistan does not become a hub for terrorism. Foreign assets belonging to the Afghan government have been frozen since the Taliban took power last month. The UNSC's Western powers are cautious about lifting the measure, but China and Russia say it should be lifted immediately to provide humanitarian aid. The National Command and Operations Center, NCOC, in Pakistan has issued a warning for all the non-vaccinated individuals in the country, saying that a ban would be imposed on basic services for people who have not received their COVID-19 vaccine. There would be a ban on entry into schools, shopping malls, transport, buses, hotels, restaurants, and wedding halls, along with a ban on air travel as well. The forum issued the warning through its official account on Twitter, where it is also urged the citizens to get both vaccination doses so that normal life can continue in the country. Reuters reports that Lithuania's state-run cybersecurity department is warning people who have Xiaomi phones to get rid of them. It said Xiaomi phones have a built-in ability to detect and censor terms such as Free Tibet, Long Live Taiwan, Independence, or Democracy Movement. The Defense Ministry's National Cybersecurity Center said the capability in Xiaomi's Mi-10T 5G phone software had been turned off for the European Union region but can be turned on remotely at any time. Defense Deputy Minister Margis Abukonis told reporters that their recommendation is to not buy new Chinese phones and to get rid of those already purchased as fast as reasonably possible. However, Xiaomi did not respond to a Reuters query for comment. Back to the world news headlines. The United Nations Security Council's 5 permanent members urged the Taliban to uphold women's rights. The Pakistan government says ban would be imposed on basic services for people who have not received their COVID-19 vaccine. Lithuania tells consumers to throw away Chinese-made phones because they have baked-in censorship tools. That ends world news. Moving on to development news, Sri Lanka is to offer concessions to airlines deciding to operate scheduled flights to the Mattala airport. Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said that airlines which commence scheduled flights to the Mattala airport will be offered with a number of concessions. He said the airlines will be given a special concession package which includes a reduction in landing and parking fees, which will be eligible over a 4-year period. That was development news.
Sports news.
Moving on with sports news, cricket. Sri Lanka Cricket today announced the commencement date and team composition for the second edition of the Lanka Premier League. Sri Lanka Cricket said that second edition of the tournament will be held from 4th to the 23rd of December 2021 and will consist of 5 teams, with each having a 20-player squad. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says there will be no special deals after Boris Johnson asked for families of England cricketers to be allowed to travel for the Ashes. The first test begins on 8th December, but some England players are considering pulling out as a result of Australia's strict COVID-19 travel protocols. The country plans to ease restrictions once 80% of adults are vaccinated. Morrison says that figure will reach 50% this week. The UK Prime Minister Johnson had discussed the issue with Morrison at a dinner in Washington. That was sports news.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are. Download the NSB Pay app from the Play Store or the App Store for free now. For more information, call your nearest NSB branch or 0112 379 379. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Cabinet cleared the path for the Trade Ministry to enter into foreign exchange agreements with selected suppliers to procure essential consumer commodities for Lanka Satosa Limited. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers reached an agreement on Tuesday to allow the Trade Ministry to move ahead with the necessary actions to implement the program by entering into foreign exchange agreements with selected suppliers. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The state-controlled and one of the oldest coconut oil-producing companies in the island, BCC Lanka Limited, has formed a strategic alliance with LHSP National Food Products Private Limited. The Industries Ministry said the two companies recently entered into an agreement to meet the coconut oil demand in the country, providing an opportunity for consumers to buy high-quality pure coconut oil. It added the BCC Lanka will be given a new lease of life with modern technology and high-tech machinery to get back into business in a bigger way, a senior official of the ministry said. The new strategic alliance will harness the maximum production capacity of the BCC and also make use of BCC underutilized machinery and more productively. That was economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report.
The Met Department says the showery condition over the southwestern part of the island is likely to enhance during the next few days. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamua, central and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere in the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in these areas. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. Minister Nama Rajapaksa says parallel to the developmental program's extraordinary projects will be introduced to promote the economy. The GC O-level examination results released short while ago. Health authorities say that it is not recommended to fully open the country at once. The Foreign Ministry informs any country accepts foreigners who are fully vaccinated with a WHO approval jab. Marine biologists point out ways to enhance alternative livelihoods for the people living in the coastal belt. The farmers and researchers are telling to restore traditional crops and provide local seeds to continue with organic farming. And on international news, the United Nations Security Council's 5 permanent members urged the Taliban to uphold women's rights. That ends this news broadcast.